Title: Wife begging to stay after betraying my trust. Now, let's analyze some of the emotional dynamics at play. People in toxic relationships often resort to gaslighting, making their partner feel like they're losing their mind. And unfortunately, the blame shifting begins as soon as the affair is exposed. This man is caught in a whirlwind of emotions, torn between his love for his children and his deep sense of betrayal. It's not just about the physical act of cheating, but the emotional destruction it causes, which is incredibly difficult to repair. Everyone has read the title, so let's get started. As the new year approached, I had no idea that my wife was having an emotional affair with a coworker. On New Year's Eve, before I found out, she came home acting distant and cold toward me and our kids. Earlier that evening, she asked if she could go out for a drink with a female coworker, someone I knew and trusted. I agreed, but reminded her that the kids would be staying up to watch the ball drop, and I would appreciate it if she could come back to celebrate with them. She got off work around 11:30, and when she came home, she was upset and crying. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she'd been invited to her friend's house to have drinks with a few women, all of whom were married. I didn't think anything of it, telling her she deserved a girls' night out and I'd handle the kids. After putting them to bed, I let her go. But a few hours later, around 3 a.m., I called her to check in, but there was no answer. I waited a bit, then called again, still no response. I even called the friend she was with, but got no answer. A few minutes later, she texted back, saying they were still out drinking and she'd be home later. That's when something felt off. I checked our phone records and found a number I didn't recognize, one she had been texting for hours, back and forth, while ignoring my calls. It turned out she'd been texting this person every day for months. I was blindsided. Never in our 6 years of marriage had I felt like something was off, but now it all clicked. I confronted her through text, showing her the evidence. She rushed home, deleting everything on her phone, no chance of recovering it, no way to know for sure what happened. I told her I wanted a divorce. At this point, she became defensive, accusing me of not appreciating the financial stability I'd worked so hard to provide, all the long hours I'd put in to keep us afloat. She demanded I leave the house even though I paid rent and our kids were asleep. I refused. We slept in separate rooms that night, but the next day, she acted like nothing had happened, claiming she couldn't remember the fight. I showed her the phone records, and after some more manipulation, she admitted to flirting with the person but insisted they never met up. I told her that if that were true, she wouldn't have deleted the texts. She had erased everything, including her last backup. But then she tried to prove her innocence, offering me full access to her social media and Snapchat, even downloading her data to show me she wasn't messaging anyone else. She kept pushing to show me a side of her that I hadn't seen in years, trying to make up for what she'd done. Still, something didn't sit right with me. I found more evidence of deleted pictures and strange gaps in communication. My gut told me she was lying. It seemed like she left her friend's place that night and went to meet the guy, or at least that's what the timeline suggested. Despite all the effort to prove her innocence, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still hiding something. The most troubling thing was how she had tried to win me back with affection and intimacy after everything came out. But I was no longer convinced. The emotional affair had gone on for too long, and I couldn't get past the betrayal. After months of this back and forth, I still couldn't trust her. My family, especially my parents, pressured me to forgive her, but my brothers told me to stand firm and get the divorce. I couldn't shake the feeling that even if I stayed, things would never be the same. I've tried to focus on my kids and keep things as normal as possible, but the weight of it all is unbearable. My wife continues to beg me not to go through with the divorce, saying it was just a mistake, but I'm still haunted by the thought that she's not being truthful. To add another layer of complication, the person she was texting was someone she managed at work. He was an employee under her supervision. I don't know if this makes the situation worse legally or morally, but it certainly doesn't make it easier to process. The more I dig into the timeline and the pictures from that night, the more confused I become. It's hard to trust anything now. I've been dealing with this emotional roller coaster for months, trying to do what's best for my kids, but I'm exhausted. The idea of staying married feels impossible at this point, but the pressure from my family to work things out is overwhelming. I'm expected to stay in this marriage, despite everything that has happened. It's hard, but I feel like I have no choice but to move forward. After all the calls and texts trying to get me to reconsider, I'm still not sure what to do. My kids deserve stability, but so do I. I can't pretend that things are okay when they're not. So now, after months of back and forth, I've made the decision. I can't keep living in a lie. When I finally told her I was done, she freaked out. She begged me to stay, even though I knew she'd been dishonest for so long. But I couldn't look past what happened, no matter how hard she tried to convince me otherwise. It's clear now that I'm doing what's best for me and my kids. We're separated, and in my state, we have to wait a year before the divorce can be finalized. But even as she begged me to take her back, I know I can't. The trust is gone, and I need to focus on healing. I wish things could be different, but I've already made my decision. The journey hasn't been easy, but I'm taking it one step at a time. My kids are my priority, and I'll continue to be there for them through this tough time. As for my wife, she can only continue to try and prove her innocence, but it's too late for that. I'm done. The hardest part of all this is dealing with the emotional aftermath. I never imagined I'd be in this situation. For years, I worked so hard to provide for my family, thinking that I was doing the right thing. I gave everything I had, sacrificed my time, my energy, my sleep, just to keep everything together. But now, I'm left with this betrayal, this feeling of being completely blindsided. I'm trying to focus on the positive, my kids and their well-being. They don't fully understand what's going on, and I don't know how to explain it to them without causing them unnecessary pain. For now, I'm telling them that mommy has some things she needs to work on. But inside, it's tearing me apart. How could I have been so blind? How could she do this to us after everything we built? Despite everything, I still feel conflicted. Part of me wants to believe that she truly made a mistake and is trying to change. But another part of me knows deep down that trust is a fragile thing, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild. Every time I look at her now, I see the lies, the manipulation, the deceit. It's not just the affair, it's the gaslighting, the way she tried to make me question myself, the way she turned everything around to make me the bad guy for even confronting her. As much as I want to let go of the pain, it's still there haunting me. I've been working through it, piece by piece, but it's a slow process. My family's reaction hasn't helped either. My parents haven't reached out to see how I'm doing or check in on the kids. It's like they're turning a blind eye, almost as if they're expecting me to just forgive and forget. But I can't. I won't. Not when I've given everything and still ended up with nothing but lies in return. It's strange how people can love you and still hurt you so deeply. I thought she was the one. I thought we'd grow old together, raise our kids, and build a future. Instead, I'm here, trying to rebuild my life from the ashes of what once felt like a solid foundation. The hardest part is accepting that this is it. There's no going back. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted with everything, is gone. The days are long and the nights are even longer. I miss the life we used to have, even with all the flaws and imperfections. But I also know that I deserve better. My kids deserve better. I've made up my mind, and I'm going to stick with it. This divorce may take time to finalize, but my decision is final. There are moments when I think about what could have been. I think about the love we shared, the good times, the plans we made. But then I remember the lies, the deceit, and the way she tried to manipulate me into staying with her. I don't want to be with someone who can do that. And I can't keep pretending that everything's okay just to avoid conflict. The hardest thing now is figuring out how to move forward. It's not just about the divorce, it's about healing, about finding myself again. I've spent so many years being everything for her and the kids, but now it's time to take care of me. I don't know what the future holds, but I know one thing, I won't settle for less than I deserve. I've been getting messages from old friends and even a few ex-girlfriends, reaching out to see how I'm doing. But right now, I can't focus on anyone but my kids. I'm doing my best to be present for them, to give them stability, even though my heart feels shattered. I don't want to make any rash decisions, but I know that once the divorce is finalized, I'll be in a much better place. It's been a difficult road, but I know I'm doing the right thing for me and my kids. I hope that, eventually, my family will understand. But for now, it's just me, my kids, and the process of healing. I've learned that trust is everything in a marriage, and once that's gone, there's nothing left to hold on to. As for my wife, I don't know where she goes from here. She's been trying to win me back, but I can't forget the way she treated me. The manipulation, the lies, the way she made me question my own reality, it's too much to forgive. She's told me that she regrets it all, but I don't know if I'll ever believe her again. Time will tell what happens next, but for now, I'm focused on my kids, on building a future that's healthier, and on healing from the pain. Divorce isn't easy, but sometimes it's the only way forward. I'm not the person I was before all of this, but I'll be a stronger one when I come out the other side. Some days feel easier than others. The mornings are the hardest, waking up to the quiet house, the absence of the familiar routines, the emptiness where there used to be laughter and conversations. But as the day goes on, I focus on the kids. They need me more than ever, and I'm trying my best to be there for them, even when it feels like my own world is falling apart. They don't deserve to carry the weight of this, and I'm determined not to let them. I've had moments where I wonder if I'm doing the right thing, especially with all the pressure from my family. I've been told countless times that I should give her another chance, that people make mistakes and deserve forgiveness. But I can't ignore the way she hurt me. I can't unsee the lies, the manipulation, the disregard for everything I did to make our family work. Forgiveness doesn't come easily, especially when trust is shattered. And right now, I don't know if I can ever trust her again. I've been through the cycle of emotional manipulation, the gaslighting, and the trickling truths. It's exhausting. Each time I thought I was getting closer to the truth, she'd pull back, trying to control the narrative. First, it was just a work friendship. Then, it was nothing physical. But there's too much evidence to ignore, too many signs that point to something deeper. Even when she swore up and down that nothing had happened, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still hiding something. The hardest part of all this isn't just the betrayal, it's the realization that the person I thought I knew isn't the person I'm dealing with now. She's been a different version of herself for months, if not longer. The woman who promised to love and cherish me, who once told me she'd never hurt me, is now someone I don't even recognize. And that's the painful truth. I've learned a lot in the past few months, mostly about myself. I've realized how much I've compromised over the years, how much I've given without asking for anything in return. I've been so focused on making her happy, on being the perfect partner, that I lost sight of my own needs, my own boundaries. It's not just about her anymore, it's about me and my well-being. It's about creating a life where I'm valued, where my trust isn't taken for granted. I don't know if she'll ever truly understand the hurt she's caused, or if she's capable of truly changing. I've been patient with her for so long, but I'm running out of patience. The constant ups and downs, the endless drama, the way she's turned my love into something manipulative, it's too much. I can't keep living like this, walking on eggshells, never knowing if the next argument will be the one that ends it all. It's funny how people change, how situations evolve. I never thought I'd be in this position, considering divorce, questioning everything I've known. But life has a way of throwing curveballs. And now, I'm learning to deal with them. I'm learning to trust my instincts, to trust my own judgment, and to take care of myself first. It's a hard lesson, but one I'm starting to understand. She's tried everything to win me back: flowers, apologies, promises of change. She's even gone as far as to beg me to stay, telling me that she regrets everything. But at this point, the damage is done. The trust is gone, and no amount of gestures can fix what's been broken. She's still trying to paint herself as the victim, still trying to make me feel guilty for wanting out. But I can't keep living a lie, pretending that everything's okay when it's not. As hard as it is to admit, I think this is the end. I'm tired of being manipulated, tired of being lied to. I want peace, stability, and honesty in my life, and I can't find that with her anymore. I'll always care for her, but I can't stay in a relationship where I'm constantly doubting her, where I feel like I'm not enough. So the divorce process moves forward. It's not easy, and I know it won't be for a while. But I'm taking it one step at a time, focusing on what's important: my kids, my mental health, my future. I don't know where life will take me from here, but I'm choosing to move forward, even if it's without her. It's time to rebuild, to find myself again, and to create a future that's mine, one where I can trust again, one where I can love again, but this time with someone who values me the way I deserve. The next chapter of my life starts now. And though it's filled with uncertainty, I know that I'm not alone. I have my kids, I have my brothers, and I have the strength to keep moving forward. That's all I need right now. Thanks for watching. If you found this story helpful, consider subscribing for more real-life lessons. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Have you ever experienced something similar? Let's continue the conversation in the comments below. Take care, and remember, life's lessons can often come from the most unexpected places.